Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, issue 3, Andy Diggle writing with Leonardo Fernandez on the art. So this was like a 10 or 12 issue book. It's apparently now 6 issues, although I expect it's because they'll just split it into 2. But we'll find out. Having said that, though, this was very good. I'm digging the constant world building here. This idea that they're like, as it turns out, this book kind of establishes the origin of both Wonder Woman and Alan Scott. And that means that I suspect that they're going to probably do a Flash at the very least, and we're going to build up to eventually Superman. But obviously they're teasing a lot of stuff with the Kryptonian things.
There's so much Kryptonian stuff in this book. Because I read the last issue. I didn't read it last month, so I read it in the lead up to this, so it's still fresh. A lot of the stuff in the Antarctic, a lot of the Kryptonian things there. I've talked about Krypton's doom. Adam Strange as a professor at Metropolis University. So they're seeding all of the Superman stuff that, I would be shocked if he doesn't make an appearance in some form by the end.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like him landing in the first issue was like saying, hey, he's coming, but he's not coming till later because Krypton's had a much bigger influence on Earth before he ever arrived in this, continuity. Yes. Which is interesting, especially since they're very much treating it as a negative. Like, no, something like Krypton did something bad to Earth long ago.
Yeah, so and we get it when we get into Diana's origin of things, right? That her version of Amazons are pushed down into the center of the earth by whatever the Kryptonians did, this doom that they brought in that raised ancient civilization and made way for the new civilization, right? And again, this is all very pulpy, kind of Jules Verne type stuff. Like, I didn't think we were going to get center of the earth type things.
Oh, yeah, we get straight up. So Skataris is the name of the place, and the Amazons are driven there because they're the only survivors of what they call Themyscira Lost, which was, they did have a Themyscira, but it's gone now. It was destroyed in this big war, or whatever you want to call it.
And she said they're like the 5th of the 7 Amazons, something along the line. So they're playing with the different kinds too. So they're the ultimate survivors, which I like too, because it adds to this version of Diana.
Yeah, so it sets up this whole idea that she, much like typical Wonder Woman, went against the wishes of most of them and said she wanted to go up and help the humans, that because Krypton's doom is coming back, she wants to go up and try and save them. So she actually comes up with like 12 other Amazons, but they all died on the way to the surface, like because they had to fight monsters, they had to go. And I think what I loved about this as it was explaining it is just like how quick and fun it felt. Like it felt like this big journey she went on, but because she basically eventually, because she popped out at the end of the last issue with the Antarctica crew, on the ship with Adam Strange, and this issue starts with she's with them, but then it kind of like flashes back to her fighting the monster. That was obviously what she was jumping out for last time she saved them, but none of them can understand her. She's speaking a different language, but eventually later in the issue she uses the lasso to be like, hey. She effectively uses it as a translator and says, hey, you'll see my truth if you hold the lasso, which Adam Strange does, and this is how we see all this story of the monsters, of the trolls, and all these things that are down there. They live in a little island on the lava in the center of the earth.
It looks metal as hell. This looks like a metal album cover.
It's pretty cool. So yeah, just to quote this exactly here, the doom of Krypton, which unleashed the horrors of the other world, shifted Earth's magnetic poles upon themselves, which makes it sound like the North Pole became the South Pole and the South Pole became the North Pole.
Which is a big thing in old pulp fiction from back, like early science fiction. That was a big thing they were worried about, was the poles flipping and reversing. So I like that they're playing with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it sets all this up, and this trek up to the top, that she's this champion that wants to leave. We see them fighting a Cyclops and like the sort of the pages of them traveling up to the surface. All just fun and pulpy and really an interesting take on this world's version of Wonder Woman. I really liked all that stuff. And I for the record, like last issue when it clearly had a Wonder Woman style character, an Amazon jump out, it did make me rethink my stance on the ring being Green Lantern related, because I was like, well, okay, they're just doing a bit of everything then. So sure enough, the real Green Lantern ring is traveling on a train, and whose origin, which Green Lantern specifically origin is tied to a train derailing?
Yeah, that'd be Alan Scott.
Yeah, Alan Scott's like this huckster on a train who ends up speaking to the old woman who's protecting the ring.
I love that he's an aerialist, and so he has a hot air balloon that he calls the Green Lantern, and that because can go up to commune with the dead up in the upper atmosphere. And I was like, oh, the snake oilness of this Alan Scott, I'm going to love. Because the stodginess of the Batman, right, when they finally interact, it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Really, really like that. And we see that League of Shadows have actually planted bombs on the train track. So I got really excited because I was like, oh, they're actually doing like a slightly different take on why the train crashes. And, we don't see it in this issue yet, but presumably he's going to end up with his hand on that ring. Not because he's stolen it or anything, but just because of happenstance.
It's going to come to him, because she mentions the lady that has it, that Bruce sent her with, is that it's taking a liking to him. Like it's never, it doesn't go off like this for everybody, right? So it's almost like it's calling up to him.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, I wonder if this means that if we do get a Flash, it'll be Jay rather than
Jay, right?
Just since we got Alan Scott, it just makes sense in that case. And then the other part of the book is we get not matches, but we get a Mr. Malone who goes to the brothel to do some recon. I thought this was funny.
With a mustache and sunglasses, nonetheless.
Yes. But a very different mustache from the usual Matches Malone. This is a handlebar type thing. But Catwoman, to her credit, immediately knows that this is the guy that chased her on the roofs with the cowl, and brings it up and confronts him about it. But basically, they come to an understanding that they both want to know what's going on, and she was lied to as well about the job from the League of Assassins and all that, or Shadows, I should say, in this case. And they've got one of the men. Most of them killed themselves, so they couldn't be interrogated, but this guy was knocked out. So she's got him tied up in the basement.
Because she says, fortunately, this one was unconscious, and as it happens, I'm rather deaf with the knot. So yeah, they have him. It's kind of actually creepy the way that she has him hanging there by his arms.
Well, there's a lot of panels here, especially on Bruce. So there's a couple in Selena as well, where most of the face is completely in pitch black shadow, and it adds a lot of mood to it, for sure. But the thing that this guy says, the only thing he says is the sleeper awakens, and this comes back at the very end of the issue. I think Diana might even say it at one point as well in her story, but at the very end, the final scene is on Mars, and I got when it cut to Mars, I'm like, okay, I feel like we're about to see something big, because there's been nothing in space yet in this book. And it just goes to this little structure. It's got a little sort of ceremonial tomb or something. It looks like a coffin, and someone, the sleeper presumably, is awakening out of this tomb. Now, it's Mars, and I see a green hand, so my instinct jumps to Martian Manhunter, but the implication I was getting from everything in this book is that the sleeper is an evil prick. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going with this.
Well, and just Krypton's doom, right? That makes me think Doomsday.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Yeah, Doomsday.
And just the way that you had the Kryptonians launching something into the sun, it made it seem like there's something else going on there in that artwork.
Yeah, this does not look like Doomsday coming out of this, unless they've very much redesigned them, which is possible. It is a green hand, and you do see the red eyes as well, which would imply heat vision, which Martian Manhunter also has, if I remember right.
He's the Martian Vision, yeah. And it doesn't look like he's wearing gloves, right? Because the first time we saw Doomsday, he's in that green suit, right? And all popped up. Yep. So maybe this is going to be a combination type, like a Martian style.
I never even thought of it could be Doomsday with the suit on. I never even thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be that, I suppose.
The fact that it went to Mars to slumber, right?
Mars,
that's something. There's something there. That's another thing from Pulp Fiction is John Carter of Mars, right? Is that whole aspect of things. But, so
it does make sense to me though that the sleeper is not the Doom, right? Yeah. Because they said it as separate things. And also, what does it mean when Krypton's doom unleashed the other world? Is that talking about the Phantom Zone? Are they talking about releasing things from the Phantom Zone?
Maybe. Yeah, because again in the last issue, because again in Fresh, that thing that they come across, that's almost like hieroglyphics of the Kryptonians, right? It looks like they're praying up to the sun, So maybe whatever Krypton's doom was, it was misunderstood. Maybe they were trying to prevent whatever this thing that got trapped on Mars was there, But yeah, a lot of fun. I didn't expect to get Steampunk Justice League or Justice, whatever we're going to call it. And it's hitting all those. It's not even really steampunk. It's more pulpy style. And we all know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a blast with it. I think it's a really interesting, different take on like building a Justice League. The only real critique I suppose you could give it is that people who thought it was just going to be a sequel to Gotham by Gaslight are probably like, what the hell is this? This is not just a sequel to that. This is its own thing that just sort of takes the name and is like, no, this is our Elseworld. This is my, just like a Deceased or a whatever. This is the Jurassic League. This is just, we're doing the Justice League in this time period, and there's a lot of lore tied to Krypton from before even Superman arriving, which makes me think that, these characters who know about Krypton's doom and all that stuff, like, how are they going to react to a Kryptonian being there and like trusting them and all that sort of stuff?
I can't imagine Diana's going to be receptive.
No, I wouldn't think so either.
Yeah.
So very intriguing. I'm very curious, and this does not feel like we're halfway through the story. So I really hope they have just split it into 2 minis or something.
Yep.
Or whatever. Maybe they'll even extend it. Maybe it's a trilogy of minis. I don't care what it is, but just. This seems like there's no way this just wraps up neatly in 3 issues.
Yeah.
Too much going on. I mean, hell, there's only one scene of Bruce in this entire issue. So, yeah. But very good. The art's solid as well. I really enjoyed all the stuff in, like, the core of the Earth and, like, coming through and all the monsters was a really cool, but very different from all the moody stuff in Gotham with, like, we're all being kind of polite, but we're at a brothel, and it's kind of a bit of a sinister vibe.
It's that Victorian kind of era where everyone's, buttoned up too much.
Versus, of course, like all the stuff. I mean, maybe more so last issue with the intro to the Antarctica stuff, but that felt like a kind of old school horror story of like going on a boat into the unknown kind of thing. And then likewise, just cutting to Mars like it did, and all that red just kind of felt so down. Like it really felt impactful because nothing in the book had looked like that yet. So no, it's very good. I am pleasantly surprised by this book now for 3 issues.
Yeah, there's one page where they talk about Diana coming up through, right? They talk about the survivors of the Mascara had long eschewed, right, all the unspeakable science of the Kryptonians, and it shows them as they're going down into the center of the Earth to Skataris, and that goes opposite of the stuff that we saw with Diana, and coming up through that, and so just the way that those pages counter each other is really nice.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning, when she uses the lasso on the monster at the start, the monster seems to think Amazon's killed its its offspring, and Diana assures her that they didn't. But I'm bringing it up because it may be an important plot detail later. And
because she says that I'm bound to the truth as much as you are, so while I'm holding this, I can't lie. So there's other things going on here.
For sure. Kind of loving it, actually. It's really good. So, really interesting book. If anything, taking Batman off the title would have even been more accurate, because it's Gotham by Gaslight, but it's really more of just,
Oh, yeah, because Gotham by Gaslight it evokes a certain era.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
I know Gotham obviously is tied to Batman, but I feel like Gotham by Gaslight, because of the alliteration, just sounds like a good sort of, sort of blanket title for, here, this is the DC... but presented, in the same way that Marvel's 1608 or whatever that book is, is a thing. So, very interesting. All right, what are you giving Gotham by Gaslight, Kryptonian Age?
I'm giving this a 9.
Whoa. 8.5 for me, I think, but it's close. Like, I really, there you go. Excellent stuff.